Hello and welcome to the new learning sèvi. We are here to serve. The people is here to demonstrate and show the leaders here contributing in the past and future. Please remember to like, comment, and share. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is your show and we are here to serve. And today we have a great show for you and we hope that you can call your friend, family member, loved one, sibling to say, come watch this show so that you can share it with them because you know that every time this show come up, we always bring the right person for you to learn the right information, get the right information so that you can share with your community as well. So this is why we created this show. We are here to serve. And we always look for people that we know that contribute in this community, that continue to contribute, and that's making a difference. And sometimes we don't even know who they are. And this is why we have this work to bring them to our house at a comfortable chair at your house. Today we have our beloved Pharlandia A Fleurimond with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Fleurimond and Ms. Thank you so much for having me here today. We have an amazing person that has been doing so much for our community. His name is State Representative Kevin Chambliss. Thank you for having me.
Be here. It's been Representative Kevin Chambliss. I look forward to this conversation, talking about how I've been able to serve the people in the community, having a conversation with such good community service as you guys. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event.
As you know, we already know who's here. This is important. And the fact that we see who's here, it is important to make sure that you tell your friends and family members, listen, because there's things that we're going to discuss today. You might not even know. But there's things going to share with us, you might not even know. So that's why it's important to make sure that you tell others about it. State Representative Chambliss, can you tell us a little about you, where you come from, if you have a wife, if you have children, what's going on?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I'm a country boy from Mississippi. Born and raised there. My whole adult life. Uh, Moved from there when I was 29, made it down to the youth community of Homestead Florida City, got in politics here, began to for Congressman Joe Garcia, worked for Congressman Carlos Cadillo, worked for Commissioner Dennis Moss. It's around that time when I worked for Commissioner Moss that I met Leah Smith, who is down in Chambliss, my beautiful wife. And we have in all 5 wonderful kids together. We are a blended family. We're a happy family. We're a peaceful family. That's my support system. That's people who keep me throughout. My youngest is 4, Caleb Grace, and my oldest is 19, Latrell. And so everybody works together to support each other, and we take that same spirit into the community. The way that we work as a family at home is the way that the community works as a family, and that's why we've been able to be successful. So after getting married, I continued working for Congresswoman Debbie Murphy Powell. We worked for Congresswoman Donna Shalala, and in all of these different capacities, what I found was that access to government and its resources was so fundamental. But there were communities that were still being left out of the conversation. Communities that still weren't having that same seat at the table. And so that's what inspired me to go is because it's familiar with those conversations, the negotiations of how much this community gets and how much that community gets. And I wanted to make sure that all communities had access to what their tax dollars are paying for. And so I decided to run for office in 2020, and the community agreed with our vision. And that is why I'm here today. I'm in 2026, still as the state representative of Florida House District 117.
Congratulations. This is good. This is fun. Question you have. Stick with another one.
Many questions you have to ask
That's
today.
the hardest.
Okay, of course. So, for you today is crime and public safety remain a top concern for many residents, as you know. What's the strategies would you support or implement to reduce crime, strengthening trust between law enforcement and communities they serve?
Thank you for that question. It's so important because one of the community roles that I had is I'm the vice chair of the Miami-Dade NAACP, it's a countywide branch. And then in South Dade, I've had the opportunity to help found the South Dade NAACP branch so that we can have those activities here in South Dade. And a lot of it has to do with the waning trust between Black and brown communities and law enforcement. And I understood that in order to make communities safe, we needed each other. Right? And so it was in that space that I began to build relationships with police officers, police agencies, the state's attorney's office, the public defender's office, and I began to learn about why certain crimes exist more than others, why certain communities have issues when it comes to police and community relations that are different from others. And when I got elected, we said, okay, I have to do something about it. So what I did was I reached out to all the law enforcement agencies, said, I need to know what you need. I have to be successful because we need you, but also I need a lot of communication to because when we're having gun violence at the rate that we have in South Dade, when we have domestic violence at the rate that we had during COVID, because remember, they got elected right before COVID. And so we dealt with that, and we saw domestic violence. Yeah, right. And so I'm like, so I want to help you guys because I need to be able to work with you guys to address these issues, and I can be the liaison to the community. And so what ended up happening was we started getting uh, requests saying, hey, if we have equipment here, if we have more technology here. And I started listening to it, and what I found out was that they county, they were ahead of the time when it comes to technology, or the city police department. They needed some assistance. And so for the last 3 to 4 years, we've been able to bring significant resources to for the city police department through the state creation of one of, for example, license plate readers that allow them to track criminals once they committed a crime, leaving the area or coming into the area. We've been able to purchase a new satellite. That satellite van with the state appropriation, $500,000,000, so that now they can have on one side of the city, they can have a satellite van that gives them good surveillance of the area while the law enforcement officers are on the other side of the city. And then just recently, this year, we were able to get them equipment upgrades like, better technology for the cars, better technologies for the office infrastructure. $300,000 was just signed yesterday by the governor. It's in the budget, and that's going directly to the city police department. So over the period of time, listening to them, understanding the needs that they had, working in a small city, a small budget, we've been able to bring over $1 million for the city police department. And so that was one of the technical things that we're doing. Now, more grassroots effort, from day one, we had a relationship with an organization called Pharlandia. And so ourselves, going out into the community, and we're going door to door, we always have their information available because if we don't just want to arrest you, the truth is we have to prosecute them. Because if they are still on the street, if they are still free and roaming amongst us, then they will continue the crimes. You arrest the shooter, but if you can't prosecute the shooter, he's still going to be shooting. And that is something that is very important. We work with crime stoppers. We go to communities that are plagued by gun violence and we pass out their flyers, putting boots on the ground. It also gives us an opportunity to listen and to communicate with residents. And we actually have passed legislation. One of my first bills that I passed was a bill that needed better security on the information that residents give Crime Stoppers, because it's a free anonymous tip line. And we wanted to make sure that the information once given is as secure as possible to protect our residents from being identified. And so, again, from grassroots, standpoint, working with organizations like Crime Stop, but also from a natural resource standpoint, bringing home over $1 million for the city police department. That has been our strategy that we've executed with success.
That is amazing. And so many programs, so many things for the community and plus law enforcement. Amazed myself. It's so much like.
I mean, that's why we tell people when you have the chance to watch a broadcast like that, you learn certain things you didn't know. There's a many of those things you just share with us. I didn't know all the detail. I see things, but I didn't know who really contribute. So it's very important for people to inform someone on the community. So Miss Clement said, thank you for what you're doing. It continue.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for what you have done. The community doesn't know about it, and it's important for us to share. And I'm happy you're here today to share all these things you have done.
I have a question for somebody. The question is, many homeowners are concerned about rising property tax.
Yeah.
What changes, if any, you believe that we can bring to help those homeowners?
Well, it's a couple of things. One, we do want to make sure that we're owners that are specifically on generation. Make sure, we're talking about legacy wealth, generational wealth. The home, the family house. It's important that it stays in the family. So we want to create programs that allow them to have leave as it goes from generation to generation. In other words, when grandma passes away and she left son, and Sonny may say, well, I don't want to live down here and I want to live in Detroit. But I still want that home to stay in the family. We need to make sure we're assisting because. But here is very much support those families. So yes, helping seniors keep their home in their families, in their families from generation to generation. Recently, there has been a conversation about getting rid of property taxes altogether.
Yes.
I cannot support that. Two reasons. Reason number one is property taxes are not just about the person inside their home and those property taxes are actually about the quality of life that we jointly share. And it's very important that we maintain that. So when we just talk about law enforcement, we get rid of property taxes. When you think pays for law enforcement, when you think pays for libraries, fire stations, traffic pickup, schools. That is how it's paid for, and that is how the quality of life is maintained in our communities. Also, getting rid of property taxes altogether would unfairly hurt some communities more than others. Communities that are richer, they would have no say in how the quality of life be maintained because they're not the ones paying the property tax, even though they're the ones that are living in that particular community. And even homeowners, depending on whether or not you are in a municipality, like a city or a village, or you unincorporated Miami-Dade, to where you have the Miami-Dade County, your municipality, you vote differently. Right now, in places like the Village of Palmetto City, the majority of their revenue is you get rid of this together, they have to, they have to become cities literally lose their corporation because they have no way to generate revenue. And so I believe that this is something that we need to think more about. There's currently was a resolution that was passed. There is going to be something that's on the November ballot. That's folks that don't know. Different people will, different people different. What I tell you is that it was a rush project. We did, as a legislature who voted for the resolution, we did not see them until 24 hours before we even voted. We went through the committee process, but again, it's all within that same 24 hours. We weren't able to really study it the way that we needed to. And entities like the fire fighters who were there was asking for a carve out to make sure that their services could continue. None of that was added to the deal, to the resolution. So I don't think that that is the answer. I do think that we need to have an answer about affordability. It's been said that, well, the state of Florida has so many reserves, we financially can afford to get rid of property taxes. Well, that's interesting. So we can afford that, then we can afford fully we can afford that, then we can afford better highway transportation system, more rail. Like there's so many other issues that we can put money into since we got all this money. I don't think that this is the right plan now. We need to talk about property insurance. We need to talk about the escalating rent prices. The rent is constantly going up in places where people can't afford, and therefore they're having to be they are being rented in their home neighborhoods. Their whole family grew up there from generation to generation, and they're being made to move to other places that are more affordable, sometimes even outside of the state of Florida. So there is an affordability crisis. I just don't think that this particular proposal is the answer.
Even though it's just a proposal, but tell me something, for example, a city like Florida City or Homestead or any other city, if something like that passed, how do the mayor and the councilwoman would sustain the city? Where do they get the money?
Based on the current proposal, they would go and they would ask the state
Oh, wow.
for more money. And what that does is this is what you preemption on. It basically makes the city more dependent on the state to their expenses, and that is the opposite direction that we want to go to. Cities or municipalities were created and incorporated by local residents. They have their own culture, they have their own agenda, and they're able to vote for their neighbors, for city council, for city commission, for mayor. These are people who they know and they trust in making that decision. People they trust to run the city. That's how it has to be. Where decisions are being made from people who have meetings from never even been to the city.
Yeah.
Let alone know what the city needs. So that is what they would have to go through. Unless, and most people making those decisions, the only time they've ever been before in the city is the 2-minute drive that they have when they're on the turnpike and they're going to meetings. Other than that, it's something to think about going to the city.
This one, then we have two questions.
Bring it on.
So you guys here, make sure you guys be on the lookout for a balloon ballot on this November. So it's important. My third question for you is, based on what you said about insurance, Florida homeowners are continuing to face rising insurance premiums and limited coverage options. Legislators or policy solutions do you need or needed to make insurance affordable and stabilize the insurance market?
So in my last term, in the I was the insurance bank for the full banks. And in that role, I worked a lot of the insurance crisis, the good, the bad, and some of the ugly was revealed through investigations that have been to insurance companies have basically said that they're going out of business because they're losing so much money. But they're truly siphoning billions of dollars to parallel companies in other states, companies that we had no jurisdiction over. And so we have proposed and are continuing creating legislation that gives us more jurisdiction and gives our the Office of Insurance Regulation, giving them more authority to hold these companies accountable, to ask questions, to be able to make them justify while this money is being siphoned off to these other companies. We want so to answer your question, one of the ways in which we want to strengthen it is because we want to make the market stronger by giving the Office of Insurance Regulation more power to monitor the companies and make sure the companies are being correct. We don't want companies to go out of business. Staying here and paying claims. We want them to be financially robust enough to where they can pay those claims. Because what they're saying is, we can't pay our claims, so we're leaving. That's not what we want. But we also wanted to make sure that we were bringing more companies into the market, with more competition, That is how you stabilize rates. That is true. So we want to definitely make sure that we're bringing more companies to the market that has been successful. Now, swing companies have come back into the market in the last couple of years. The issue with that is we also want to make sure we're making the consumer aware of who these companies. And so this year, I had proposed legislation that would have created a rating system for these insurance companies, similar to how the BBB, Better Business Bureau, has a rating system for companies. You'd be able to see what is the rating system. So, for example, it's the difference between going to Direct General and maybe Allstate. Allstate might be a little more expensive, but I'm gonna get more services. But, maybe if I'm on a budget, I can do without those services and I'll go with Direct General. But I can make choice because I know what each one offers. That's what we wanted to, have the Office of Insurance Regulation provide to the consumers so that they can choose which company best fit their needs. So then a reelection. That I can, put that, push that bill a little further. There definitely is interest, there are some nuances. This is definitely a way in which we can, help address the affordability crisis. We can take some steps to lowering the premiums on homes insurance.
That is amazing. It's basically like an audit. You want the regulation company to audit insurance companies and as well having what you said about the rating. And I think that's amazing. I prefer to have that to see what company would best fit for me and my income.
That's right.
It's amazing.
The question. My question is to me, and I hope we can answer that question as well. Currently we have a situation with CPS, and expect 350,000 Haitian in others country as well. What do you think about what's going on? What can you say? What you are pushing about that?
Thank you for that. First off, just know it's culturally rich. This is a area working with to get to know the Haitian American culture here in the homestead for the city or the South Bay area. As a boy from Mississippi, I knew a lot about history. I did not know as much as I've learned here. Such a resilient crowd culture as they should be. This is, I would say, almost perfect for a community that has given so much to not take into consideration the scenarios with the homeland that would make it dangerous for anybody to be forced to leave the circumstances go back, but also more importantly, to not consider many contributions that that community has made here, not only some days, but to the United States of America. Exception. Absolutely. Celebrating 250 years. Literally, since our inception, there have been people made the United States. So yeah, say this is more my opinion. But I also believe that this too shall pass. I think that the pendulum swing back so often. Families should take us very serious. Like we're here, our office is here, we're making ourselves available. We're not asking any questions. We just want so feel free to come to our so the four folks in my office to see what that looks like. Because it looks different for different families. But I do think back into receiving, we appreciate the fact that the United States is a country of immigrants. It's a percentage of us that have genealogy that was here for its founding. We have to acknowledge that. And not just acknowledge it, we have to celebrate it. Our strength is our diversity. The reason that we need so many categories is because the strength is our diversity. And so we're going to be here. We definitely think that the federal government has its role. We the Supreme Court got this role. And sorting it out, we'll be here for resource for our neighbors. But we're still going to fight. Not only restore TPS, but honestly, We're going to fight for restoration of a community that welcomes the immigrant. As we were all taught to welcome the stranger into that strange land and become a neighbor with them, and appreciate what they know. What would something be without the immigrant community? We definitely still be a whole bunch of wood and bars still. But we are a great and growing community because we're getting the immigrants.
While you were saying about, but thank you for sharing, I appreciate it. And while you were saying about your office, I know at the end you're gonna give some information, but if you can share that information right now, where your office is, how people can contact your office, it would be nice as well while you're in the.
Absolutely, it's located Community College Homestead campus. We're building out from 212. They're 95 Monday through Friday. And just to give you an example of what could your office be doing, we're giving these up to state government. So let's say, for example, there are family members who might not be located. There might be family members who are a strong source of income for a family. So now family has to rebudget. Maybe a family needs to take a different look at apply stuff. Maybe a family has to make sure that their unemployment happens quicker. Maybe a family has to make sure that they have to look at new housing resources and housing opportunities. Those are the things that we can be helpful. But as well as including with USCIS immigration office time, we have those relationships as one. And if you needed someone who you could trust to potentially make those communications on your behalf, we could also do that. Is maybe a family says, I don't know what I need to do, but I need to talk to somebody. We have a list of immigration lawyers who are willing to be supportive, and give their time specifically for that, and we can connect you to them. And also just be there. It's going to look differently for different families. And we just want to make sure that we're available to help in any way that we can.
What a show, what a show, what a show. There's so much. It's so much.
And that's, and it's shocking. I really appreciate your work that you've done. Do you have anything else you would like to say to the community while we're still here?
Thank you. All this work really is a community effort. The relationship that we build in the community has helped us be successful. We worked on different things in life. Time in office is not side. It's brought up community collaboration. They just chose the one that keeps talking all the time. But it's the people behind me, including people in the forum. It's the people behind me that really allow me to be successful. We want to continue that success. Continue to look past partisanship, look past demographics, and being South Asian communities, helping everybody, but definitely having a special heart. Those who are disenfranchised, those who don't have as much access, we consider ourselves a friend and a neighbor to all. We want to continue that. We want to make sure that we're addressing issues head on, not running away from them. The public safety, education, whether it be support for our seniors, support for our youth. We want to be there for you. If you guys allow me, I'll continue to be that voice in office and out of office. Look, a lot of stuff that I do, I told you I was vice president of the NAACP. We do this because we want to serve the people, and look forward to continue to serve you guys. Thank you so much.
As we just heard, State Representative Karen Chambliss is here for us. The experience that I have with him, he's not just a politician, but he's a friend. Wherever he goes, he's a friend. And with whatever ethnicity, whatever background, wherever you come from, he's there for one island. It's not about politics, but it's about serve truly and give yourself to the people. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is why we have this podcast. We are here to serve. And we bring people that contribute or that continue to contribute to this community. And sometimes that accomplish so much. And we don't even know, or we never say thank you. And when those people, we like when until they die, we say, well, he used to do this, and I miss him. No, whatever. Him right now.
And I would like, when you see, Stephen Representative, Kevin Chambliss, and his staff, and he said, thank you for what you're doing. Yeah, we're not perfect. None of us is perfect, but at least we put nice. But he has, been doing it, and I still cut the beautiful self. Talk about what you have.
So you guys heard his concerns about strengthening and putting trust in our law enforcement, as well the concerns about the insurance premiums and the rising cost of property tax, and his concerns about the TPS. So make sure you vote so we can continue making that change in our community. So thank you so much for having us. Learned so much. I appreciate this information. I'll definitely share it off with friends and family. And I hope you too as well can share with your friends and family. And have a lovely day.
Once again, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.